Hey, what's going on, movie lovers? I'm Jeff.
I'm Kyle.
And we are Shut Up Out. We keep laughing because I never notice he points every time.
Yeah. You did a super cut.
Yeah, and
one of my friends pointed out that she laughs every time I point at the camera.
I never even realized. And I edit things, and I never noticed.
Yeah.
So I keep giggling. We are Shut Up I Like This podcast where we talk about how much we like movies and we don't shit on film. Yeah. We're here to enjoy film. That's what we do.
And it's Punisher week.
And yeah, apparently.
As you can see by all the movies in front of us.
Definitely. Before we get into it and everything, there's something I wanted to mention. I talked to you about it before we started recording. I think with this kind of taking off being video and all that stuff, I think we're just going to go straight to YouTube now. So if I know there are audio listeners, I know you guys are listening. I see the numbers. But we can also see like the Stitcher app, stuff like that you guys can listen to and close it. It's more just like you guys are listening to the direct links, which is awesome. We're glad you're listening. But we could just do that on YouTube, and saves a little bit of hassle for me, saves a little bit of money, and we can I can kind of focus more on this.
Yeah.
And instead of like, I gotta get the audio out and I gotta get the video out, and then it's just a lot of things to worry about. And if it helps me out, helps you guys out. I mean, if you guys are gonna listen, you still listen to YouTube.
Check us out over on YouTube.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let you guys know, I think that's going to go into effect December 1st. So December 1st, I think we're going to go straight video. If you guys, of course, you still want to listen, just open it up in a tab and listen, and we'll still be here. So you guys got a couple weeks, but I just want to let you guys know. So on to Punisher, 2004.
Thomas Jane.
The man.
The myth.
The legend. The Punisher.
There we go.
That was good.
Tagline.
Unplanned. There we go.
Hey, we've been doing this for a year.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
This is episode 53?
53 or 54?
I think Soldier was 53, so this is 54.
54, yeah.
Episode 54, goddamn. Finally getting to the Punisher. Great film. I didn't think we could actually do this one.
Yeah.
I thought the scores were flipped. So when you brought it up, I was like, yeah, we can look. The Rotten Tomatoes score is 29%, and the audience score is 63%.
Cool.
So there's a big flip right there.
This was my pick for a movie I wanted to do, and the reason why I thought of it is I was on YouTube, and every so often I go back to that amazing Punisher fan film with Thomas Jane, which we'll talk about. I don't know if you want to do it now or later. Or whatever.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it now.
So this was made, what did you say, 8 years?
8 years after the movie.
After
in
the
2012.
Yep, and it's called
Dirty Laundry.
Dirty Laundry. And it's like an R-rated short film. I think it's like 14 minutes in length.
Yeah.
Where it's got Thomas Jane.
Not much.
It's got a cameo from Hellboy. Ron Perlman is in it. And it's just a little short film where Thomas Jane beats up a gang of people and brutally murders them with a bottle of Jack Daniels. And it's like a
wet dream for me.
Yeah. One of the top comments was like, "This is the coolest Jack Daniels commercial I've ever seen."
That was my thoughts exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, this just makes me want a cup of Jack more.
Right. Yeah, you're a big Jack Daniels fan too.
I fucking love Jack Daniels. Yep. Yeah.
I thought it was neat as shit that Thomas Jane loves the character so much that 8 years later he did this short probably for free.
Well, yeah, I would imagine so. I think the budget on it was shoestring. Like they had nothing pretty much, and they got Ron Perlman interested somehow.
Yeah.
So that's it. I might have to dive into that. Kind of check out the background.
You should put a link on our show just down in the description.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For everyone to check that out in case you haven't seen it. Yeah, that's cool as shit. And so I watched that again, and then I'm like, I want to watch the Punisher movie that he was in. And it turns out we have a podcast. we can talk about this shit after we watch it too.
Definitely.
So like, hey Jeff.
I actually, you said it in a lot of my movies. We've been trying to sell the house for like a couple months. Almost, it's a year. And I have a bunch of stuff boxed up in the basement, so I was like, climbing through my movies looking for it, and it was right on top. The Punisher was like right on top of this case, and I was like, oh, thank God, I didn't have to dig through 8 boxes of movies. So I was very pleased about that.
Yeah.
But holy shit, I forgot how much I love this film. Because it's been a while since I watched it, and then it's like, yeah, I know, I like Thomas Jane. That movie's awesome.
When did this come out?
2004. And then it's like, and then you watch it again, and it's like, this is like better than I remember.
Right.
And you remember liking it.
Yeah.
But it's just like, holy shit, you forget like all the like. To be honest,
there's a lot of nuances to this film that you forget about.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, to be honest, I started watching it this morning and I was like, I can skip through some parts. I've seen this movie 800 times. Ended up watching the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm like the opening in Puerto Rico where his family's massacred. I've seen this 800 times.
Yep. No, that's good.
Nope, I watched it.
Yep, it's a good sequence.
It's just one sequence after another.
Yep.
It's paced extremely well.
And so we're going to be talking about. I brought all my Punisher movies out.
Yeah.
just for fun.
I used to have this on VHS.
Friend of the podcast, Dolph Lundgren. We bring him up anytime we get the opportunity to.
I don't think we've actually done a Dolph Lundgren film yet.
We haven't, but we should.
Red Scorpion. The movie's awesome.
Yeah, we definitely should. We're going to be talking a little bit about the extended, I guess you call it the director's cut of the film. It has a longer runtime. It has an entire subplot that they added back to the film that was cut at the last minute. It has a new animated intro sequence that takes place in Iraq. It's a little bit of a flashback.
Yep.
That was supposed to be a whole live-action thing before the Marvel logo or the Punisher logo or anything started, but they cut it for budget reasons.
Yep.
It's got a little bit more violence, more language. There's just more...
darker shit.
Just more to it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the version of the movie that we're going to be talking about today.
Definitely.
Yes.
So before we get into it, as usual, I want to run through the cast, director, stuff like that. This cast is loaded, and a lot of people who have been on the podcast actually.
Yeah.
So Thomas Jane, of course, the Punisher. Everybody knows Thomas Jane. John Travolta. We've done Face Off. Of course, Thomas Jane was also in Face Off as a prisoner.
Yep.
Real quick, I just want to say I love John Travolta as a villain.
Yeah, I thought that was good casting.
I think he's really good. Will Patton, also been on the podcast, Armageddon. So we've talked about him. He's in thousands of stuff. He's in
every movie you've ever seen.
Probably most notably, aside from Armageddon, I was like, Remember the Titans. He's the assistant coach.
Or Gone in 60 Seconds.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
I think of him in that a lot.
Definitely.
Like he's in Armageddon.
He's in a ton of stuff. It's like whatever you've seen, he's in.
Yes.
Basically. He's always... Will Patton, I didn't know his name until, 6 years ago, because he's always just that other guy.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, he's got a name. It's great. A favorite of ours, who's also been on in Pandorum, is Ben Foster.
Yeah.
I love Ben Foster. We've talked about him a lot. We want him in more stuff.
This is the movie that I remember him from the most.
This is probably the one that I saw him first in.
Yeah. And he's got a unique look with all of the piercings.
Watching it now, it's like you almost have to like force yourself to. Oh yeah, that's Ben Foster.
Because he's got a little bit of longer hair.
Yeah,
and he's kind of got the.
He's a little gauntier.
The look.
And it's an interesting look, but
he's got one of my favorite lines in the movie. No one's ever stood up for me before. I love that delivery, and I love how I don't know. That's
how honest it sounds.
Yeah, that's a good moment. That is a good fucking moment in this film.
Shouldn't play with knives.
Yeah.
Pops him on the nose.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Rebecca Romaine, I don't know if we've had her yet.
Not yet, but
definitely will.
Mystique?
More, yeah.
Real Mystique?
Yeah.
I don't know
not,
what the fuck Jennifer Lawrence did, but she is not Mystique. Rebecca Romaine.
There's no Mystique to her performance. It's just, she's...
I don't know. We can spend far too long.
Rebecca Romaine was just very mysterious and like she could kick your ass, but you're like you kind of like it.
Yeah,
And
you kind of wanted to.
Yeah, and Jennifer Lawrence was just kind of like, she's a good actress, but as Mystique, it was just kind of meh.
And the way they wrote the character in the X-Men.
Yeah, it was different.
Mystique.
It was very different.
Yeah,
very different.
I don't know, but Rebecca Romijn in this film, very enjoyable.
I love her in this film. I think she's a dramatic actress. I'd love to. I'm sure she's in some dramatic film.
I'm sure she's in more than what you realize.
Yeah.
But I was watching this thinking, why isn't she in everything?
Yeah.
Like, she's one of those actresses that should be in everything because she's really enjoyable.
Yeah, I really enjoy her.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned you recognized the comedian.
Yeah. What's his name?
John Panay.
Okay. I've seen his stand-up comedy.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
At the time when the movie came out, I didn't recognize him. This has to be way early on in his career.
I think it was after, because I remember like me and my friends would stay up late watching Comedy Central. Comedy Central Presents, and it was always new people and kind of like early like Chris Porter, early Rodney Carrington, stuff like that. Yeah. And it was always kind of that group. And then John Panay was on there, and I don't know if I think it was about pie, because I was saying I think he has a great bit about pie. That's kind of like, I just remember him from Comedy Central Presents.
Yeah.
And do they still do that? I don't think they do.
I don't have cable. I only watch Netflix, and then I have like cheapo basic antenna for football hooked up this fuck television.
Comedy Central used to do that really well. Comedy Central Presents, and now I think it's gotten taken over by Last Comic Standing. Do they still do that? Maybe.
Again, I'm not really. I mean,
people have come out of there, but nothing compares to giving a stand-up like a solid 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, like those were funny. I do remember watching those. What was his name?
John Panay.
John Panay. I remember he's got like a special on Netflix, or it was. I don't know if it's still up or not. That was really funny, where he does a really funny bit about people who don't know what to order from Subway.
Oh, right.
Yeah. You remember that?
Yeah, I think I watched it.
Yeah, and how he gets like really mad, where he's like, I'm a big guy.
It's a sandwich!
It's like, I haven't changed. Subway hasn't changed. They offer the same things. How do you not know what you want to order? And he rattles off exactly what he wants, and it's really funny.
Yeah.
So, going back and watching the Punisher movie, liking him as a stand-up comedian made me like his performance in the movie more, because...
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because not that I disliked it before, but being like, oh yeah, I know him, I know his stand-up comedy. It was funnier because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yep. And I loved him walking around with the big, oversized rolling pin.
Yeah. Come on, champ, let's go get some ice on that.
Yeah.
Like, he slapped him.
You know he improv'd.
I'm sure.
A lot of that.
I'm sure, yeah. But yeah, I wonder if he's done anything else. Because this is kind of an odd film for John Panay to be in.
Yeah, like how did they find him?
For The Punisher.
His agent definitely.
It needs a raise.
Yeah,
no shit.
Punisher film. Yeah.
No kidding. The writer-director I thought was pretty interesting. It's two writers, Jonathan Hensley and Michael France. Jonathan also directed it. So some of the stuff that Jonathan Hensley has done, which makes sense, is he did Armageddon.
Oh, really?
He as the writer.
As the writer, yeah.
He wrote Jumanji.
Cool.
I mean,
the real Jumanji with Robin Williams,
and that means he kind of wrote the outline. If you have Robin Williams,
and then you let Robin Williams improv.
So he wrote the outline to Jumanji.
Unless you're the movie Flubber,
and that was upsetting.
Yeah, that's upsetting to me too.
That's very upsetting.
Another callback to another episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had Jonathan Hensley on here already, and
I want to make a list.
Yeah, I know. I want to get a list.
We need a list of like all of the actors or directors or writers that keep showing up.
I want to do one of the films and the scores, and then you can click on actors and see. Oh, John Travolta's been in 3 films that we've done, stuff like that. Jonathan Hensley also wrote Die Hard with a Vengeance, which is
cool.
My second favorite.
Die Hard trivia, that was originally some other film.
Oh, really?
When he wrote it, it was not a Die Hard film?
It was,
I don't know what it was originally supposed to be called.
I know what you're talking about.
Or whatever, but then the studio was like, if we slap Die Hard on this.
Yeah. It's a... man, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting thing because...
that was one of those rare instances where that worked really incredibly well.
2007 or 8, a movie called 12 Rounds with John Cena.
Yeah.
And Aidan Gillen or whatever. That was like Die Hard with a Vengeance, but he had to go through all 12 rounds.
Yeah.
And I think it was the same... maybe that was Jonathan Hensley as well.
Huh.
It was either like the same director or same writer, because I thought it was really weird that you would copy your own film.
I've never seen 12 Rounds.
It's silly. Yeah.
Well, it's John Cena.
I'm glad I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it twice. And then the other writer, Michael France, he wrote Cliffhanger with Stallone.
Not Cliffhanger. Cliffhanger.
Love Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
He wrote Fantastic Four, which we've talked about doing. So,
that's another one that we're going to do eventually on the show.
And he had a story credit for GoldenEye.
Cool.
So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And then they got... I think that's a good writing duo. You see a lot of...
it reflects in the film because this feels, again, along the lines with the one that we just did yesterday. What's the title of it? I can't...
last week.
Last week. Yeah. It may have been yesterday when we recorded.
right.
Last week. I'll let you guys figure that out.
Soldier.
How I said that felt like an 80s action movie.
Yeah.
This had a lot of those same vibes, like that opening sequence on the island.
Yeah.
Where it goes from a shootout to a car chase to a motorcycle. It just evolves and changes, and that reminded me a lot of like an 80s action movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting that the writers have credits that go back to like Cliffhanger and a lot of those other films from that era.
There's real quick, there's an interesting bit there talking about tying back to 80s films. It wasn't in the trivia, but I think I have seen an article talking about the director talking about how intentional it was. I'm a huge fan of Mad Max. I love the original film.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched it dozens of times. When Mad Max's family gets run down,
yeah,
there's the shot of the car coming, and they go like that and fall flat.
Uh-huh.
Recreated in The Punisher as they're running down the dock.
Definitely. And then he runs down the pier and he kind of picks them both off.
It's almost shot for shot.
Yeah.
A remake of Mad Max.
That's cool.
So I'm a huge fan of that. But looking through the trivia, I didn't see that at all. But I think I've read an article from the director about it, because that's a huge... I mean, The Punisher, Mad Max, very close in line.
Right.
Same theme. So to pay homage to something like that, I mean, that's 70s. Yeah, right? Late 70s is Mad Max?
I think, without looking it up,
I think it is.
So?
Yeah, so...
we need our third person.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hey, look this up for us, because I hate being on the phone on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's a pet peeve of mine.
Yep. We'll get it figured out.
We'll just pretend that everyone at home knows.
Right. You know what I'm talking about.
And is yelling at us in the comments.
Yeah, I'm sure.
What the fuck? You guys do a movie podcast?
You don't know the release date of every movie made.
You try fucking sitting here and thinking of this shit as you're talking about it.
Off the top of your head.
Right.
But anyways, I'm a huge sucker for that recreation of the scene. So.
And that was a good moment, especially when you see the car loop back around and come towards him, and he just loads up his shotgun like, fuck it, this is it.
Yep.
I'm going out right now.
There's a whole bunch of scenes like that too. They're just like, oh. But I mean, we'll get into it more. So that's kind of the cast I want to talk about. Do you have a first experience with this film?
Oh, did I see this in theaters? I don't think I did. I really don't think I've seen it in theaters. So I don't know. It must have been on DVD or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
That's weird that
you can't remember every movie.
I can't remember the first time I watched
it. I saw it in theater with my dad. Go figure. And then I saw it as soon as it came out on DVD. This is It wasn't in that group of like my first 30 DVDs
Yeah.
that I always talk about, because I remember my first 30 DVDs. But it was very soon after. I was probably right after I got my first job, probably. So I was probably about 13, 14. And then I probably ended up getting it from Movie Gallery. Because I was able to buy our movies if I went there. So yeah, I saw this in theaters for my first experience.
Yeah.
I don't remember it much about the experience, though. I just remember going to see it.
This is also one of those movies. Excuse me. It gets muddied a little bit because you've seen it so many times on television. Because this is Punisher is one in my mind that lives on forever on FX.
Yes.
During the holidays, during this time of year too, it's like, what do we air? We air Armageddon, and we air Punisher, and we air Fantastic Four, and
the same writers. They like have a deal worked up with FX.
Yeah, and Swordfish, and like all of that shit is just like that's what's on FX during the holidays.
Van Helsing's a big one.
Van Helsing, Underworld.
Underworld.
Jeez. Okay then.
Underworld. So before we get into the,
don't you kind of think so too? That like.
Yeah,
this
definitely.
movie is forever on television. Spike TV, FX.
Definitely. FX does a great job of playing "Shut Up, I Like This" films.
Yeah, they do. I kind of like that channel. A lot.
I love when there would be Sundays where all I would do is watch FX. It's like,
I know.
Now playing Death Sentence.
Yeah.
Followed by The Punisher. And then later tune back in for Armageddon.
Yeah, like back when I had television, like I would just leave it on FX in the background while you're doing whatever else.
Yeah, definitely.
Whatever else.
Gaming or doing. I would be on the computer playing. I'm a hardcore online gamer.
World of Warcraft.
At that time, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or probably Forsaken World or something. But yeah, I'd be on the computer. My buddy Lex would be on the laptop. We'd be running dungeons, and then on the TV would be FX.
FX with Punisher playing in the background.
Exactly.
Right?
And then it's like, oh, dude, he's about to do the paper cutter thing.
You joke, but this is one of those.
No,
movies.
Exactly. That's exactly what you do.
It's true, and you're right when you say I've seen it about 700 times.
Yes.
This is how. That's how you've seen it like 700 times.
Definitely. Yeah. And it's so funny that he's about to fight the Russian. Pause!
It's weird, kids that are younger than us that may, ooh, that was a good pop.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Anyway.
That don't have or watch as much television because, everything's on Netflix and streaming.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that experience.
Yeah, it's weird.
Really anymore because you pick what you want to watch and you don't maybe just leave the TV running in the background.
And that was only like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't been that long.
But it's already...
It's strange,
it's on its way
especially
out.
With stuff like Hulu. They're doing live streams and stuff now, and
there's a lot of people like me who don't have TV.
Yeah, we don't.
You don't have TV either.
No, we have Netflix. I have Sling and
Tubi TV.
Or no, not Sling. I used to have Sling. I have Sunday Ticket right now.
Oh,
because during the season, I'm like, okay, no more Sling because we won't be watching it. We'll just be watching football.
Yeah. Because you're out of market.
But Sling, I'm out of market because I'm fucking Seahawks fan
in Iowa. It's okay because you're from Seattle, so I can't actually.
It's not like I just
fucking bandwagon fan.
Yep, I was there. Who's the
quarterback in 2001?
Probably Hasselbeck.
Yeah. See. You can name someone.
Sean Alexander.
You can name someone before Russell Wilson.
Bobby Ingram. Sean Springs as cornerback. Oh man, those are good years. Yeah.
Do a football podcast.
Anyways, you do. So I might have to get on there.
Podcast. If you're a Vikings fan, check us out on YouTube.
Check me out next year. I'll be doing a Seahawks. Probably not, but I want to.
You can call it like Legion of Boom podcast. That probably exists somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. So before we get into talking about the actual film, I think we've had enough Punishers. We can do this little listing. We've done it with Batman. We've done it with all sorts of stuff. So let's kind of do this like how we've done with Batman. Let's just work through it together.
Okay.
So let's start from the bottom.
Sure.
So at the bottom... including John Bernthal.
You have to.
Include him.
You have to. The bottom has probably got to be Dolph.
Yeah.
I would say so. Out of all the movies, this is the cheesiest.
Yeah, definitely.
And probably
80s.
the furthest away from the lowest budget. Probably too.
Oh, for sure.
And probably the furthest away from the character.
It's got Louis Gossett Jr. though.
Yeah, I know, and it's good, and I like it.
Yeah,
and
it's like a good cheesy. Good, yeah.
I want to do that for a podcast at some point too.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I think that would be fun, and we, like you said, we haven't done a Dolph Lundgren film,
right?
So that would probably be the bottom of my list.
And then Ray Stevenson after.
Which sucks because I like him a lot.
It's a
Punisher
interesting film.
Punisher Warzone is underrated as fuck.
I like. He does fine.
Yeah.
I just think he's more of a placeholder for the other actors. He's more of until it's after Thomas Jane, but I'll just be here until we get to John Bernthal.
And it was Lionsgate. It was their last attempt to hold the rights to the Punisher character, because you know how those contracts work with Marvel.
Right.
That says you're essentially renting our character, and if you have to make a movie every X amount of years, otherwise the rights revert back. And so that was the span from the Punisher Thomas Jane movie to we have to do this one, otherwise we're going to lose the rights to it. They did Warzone, and then they just let the rights lapse and revert back to Marvel.
Yeah.
That's how we got the Punisher Netflix series.
Yep.
So I do get what you mean where he feels stuck.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It's not necessarily his fault. I like Dominic West as the bad guy. Jigsaw.
Yep.
And it's over the top, gory, blood, bullets. It's more of what you wanted in Thomas Jane's. But without Thomas Jane.
If you could have put Thomas Jane in this film.
Right.
That would have been really cool. I don't know, why didn't they just get him? Well, he couldn't have been...
There was some disagreement between the writers and him and producers not wanting to do it. Punisher didn't make a whole lot of money back.
Yeah.
I think I had something about it in trivia. But yeah, there was just a whole lot of things against it.
It's kind of a shame.
And when you think of 2004's Punisher, when you talk to people like you and me, we're like, oh, fuck yeah, the movie's awesome.
It's great, yeah.
You talk to anybody else, they're like, what are you talking about? It's kind of one that kind of gets lost to non-superhero Marvel people.
This whole...
Especially in 2004.
This whole set of films, I kind of feel like is...
Lost
a little bit.
Yeah. And especially in 2004. That's 4 years before Iron Man.
Yeah.
It's about the only thing that you had going was like X2 just came out in 2002. We had Blade 2 come out in 2002. So you had those, and those were...
So Warzone was 2008. Yeah. I want to look the Rotten Tomatoes up really quick.
So that was it was the same year as Iron Man.
Yeah.
So that's...
It got buried.
Yeah,
it got buried under the start of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Dark Knight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think about 2008, one of the best years of film, and then you have Punisher Warzone. So
I wanted to look it up really quick just to see what the comparison was for like the critic score. It was a 28% overall critics for Punisher Warzone and a 42% audience score. So there was a little bit of a drop in...
Yeah, the critic score is about the same, and then the audience score kind of went down about 20%.
Yeah.
So it's about 1 out of 5, and I was just saying before we cut back, I'm probably in that 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
Because it's fine, and I've seen Punisher Warzone. I don't know if I would watch it again.
I am going to watch it again.
Because of this.
Because now I'm in the mood to watch all 3 of them, so I dug all 3 of them out. If anyone is curious, the Dolph Lundgren Punisher film is also 28%, and 32% audience score. So they're all... We could do this whole franchise.
Yeah, no kidding.
If we wanted to.
Punisher month.
So we gotta go. We gotta figure out who's 2 and who's 1.
I know my picks.
You got it?
I don't. I'm not sure that we'll agree.
The floor is yours. I'm making.
I'm not sure anybody will agree. It's tough because they're both good. They're both great in their own right. But I would put Bernthal second.
Would you?
Yeah, I see. This is what I thought.
This is good.
Let me figure. Okay, so Bernthal, I'm a sucker. I love the Netflix series as much as the other guy. I love it. I love Bernthal since Walking Dead. He's in a great film with The Rock called Snitch, where they both act, and it's fantastic. I love Bernthal. I love the Punisher Netflix series. With Thomas Jane, though, you get more... I mean, could just be the difference in writing, but you get that darker, emotionless, alcoholic Punisher, and that's what I want.
Yeah.
Bernthal is more of the emotional Punisher. You see him emote a lot. You see him frustrated. You see him sad. You see him happy. You see a lot from Bernthal. They both kill people awesome. I mean, the prison scene in the first season is phenomenal. Everything's great, but I just like the emotionless Thomas Jane a little bit better.
Yeah, I follow.
And after the Dirty Laundry short, it's like he can do the same thing that he's doing in this series, but I still like his portrayal better.
So it's not Thomas Jane's fault that he got put in a Punisher movie where he was asked to do an interrogation scene with a popsicle.
That's based out of the comics.
Yeah, I know, but I still don't like that. I don't care what it's based on. Like, it's not his fault that was put in the movie and asked him to do. Like, by the way, you just witnessed your family being killed, and this is the first guy that you're going to, like, interrogate.
Well, he needs an informant.
I don't care. Like,
kill them all!
He's the Punisher. He should have fucking, like, fucked that guy up.
Right.
Like, it's not his fault.
Like the pawn shop scene in Punisher.
Right?
Like...
Yeah.
You don't fuck around.
Yeah, you don't fuck around with it. I really like Thomas Jane as Punisher because he wanted to be this character so bad that he comes back 8 years later for a fan film that he probably didn't get paid for. The beginning of the unrated director's cut has that animated opening sequence that he had to come back for, that he did a photo shoot and he did voiceover work for. He probably wasn't paid very much for that. He loves this character, and I think that look at that
yeah, I know. I keep looking at it right now.
Package with he's holding up. I don't know if that's a shotgun or what that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he's got the trench coat and the shirt, and he just looks like the Punisher. If you would have put him in the Netflix series and given him that material to work with, he would have absolutely killed it.
And like, especially that image, I keep looking at it. I'm sorry that you guys can't see it. I'll put it up behind the screen.
Yeah.
But it's exactly how he's got the furrowed brow. He's got the just the grizzled forehead look that you see in the comics. He's got the dead eyes of just staring through you, and like it's just the chin, the jaw. That's Punisher. The hair, it's perfect.
Yeah. For my ranking, I would probably flip him just because I really like the John Bernthal Punisher Netflix series.
Yeah, without a doubt.
He had, because it was a series, he had a longer time to play the character and to expand it, and he got to do a hell of a lot more and be a lot darker and brutally fucking murder people like what the Punisher should. That helps him out a little bit.
A lot of mowing people down. And
yeah.
Definitely.
It'd be interesting to see what's going to happen with his Punisher.
Yeah, there's some stuff going on, huh?
I know with the Netflix series being canceled because Disney is doing their own streaming service. I don't know, and I kind of feel like there was a third season of Daredevil that hit, and I haven't seen much fanfare. online about it. I think we've peaked a little bit on the television stuff because they hit too much at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Way too much at once. Like when Daredevil hit, Daredevil was awesome,
yes,
and everyone loved it. And then all of a sudden there was Jessica Jones, and that was good. But then we got Luke,
before you knew it, there was 5 shows that you were trying to watch
Luke
at once.
Cage and Iron Fist and Defenders and Daredevil season
Punisher.
2. And Punisher came out, and Punisher stood above the rest because that was really good, and you also had a big actor that people loved from Walking Dead. And then that's not even counting stuff like Inhumans, Runaways, that's over on Hulu.
There is just media overload.
Yeah,
it's tough enough for.
I chucked out.
Yeah.
I totally checked out of their TV show stuff, and so I'll be curious to know what happens with Punisher long term.
And it's a lot of work. We have jobs. You know, I have kids.
I don't want to watch all that shit.
It's hard to keep up with 1 or 2 shows,
even though
let alone 4 or 5.
We joke about we do a lot of superhero stuff, and we do fit Batman into every episode. But I don't want to just watch superhero content.
Right.
Like, there's other good stuff out there.
The Soldier we just watched. We talk about Daybreakers.
Yeah.
There's great content out there.
You can't watch everything.
Yeah. It's just, especially at once. It was way too much at once. If you include Runaways, stuff like that, there's 6-7 shows.
Yeah, if you tried to say I'm going to watch all of the Marvel television shows, they just shit the bed and just overloaded all of it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then I ended up picking and choosing. So I stuck with Daredevil, and then I was like, oh, Punisher. Well, that's going to be the other thing that I have time for, because I don't have time for 5 shows. So then you get people like me who are picking and choosing, and
yeah, it's like, what the fuck? It's like, I don't give a shit about Iron Fist.
Like, spread it out.
Yeah.
See, if Iron Fist was on there by itself, I probably would have watched it. Yeah. I'd be like, oh, okay, well, see what Netflix is doing with this Iron Fist thing.
But then you gotta watch Luke Cage before you watch Iron Fist.
Shit out all this other stuff.
You gotta watch Iron Fist before you watch Defenders.
It's just like, if they would just, like, Daredevil, when it was just the first season. It's like, everybody could watch it, everybody enjoyed it, but then do a season of something else.
Yeah.
Let it sit. Do a season of something else. It's like, give people time. Don't shit it all over them.
I think the break for Stranger Things between season 2 and 3 is a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Term,
for sure.
Because you're not pushing out content so fast. Like, we're both excited for more Stranger Things. In part because of that break. Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, waiting for Dark Knight Rises after Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about film, but 4 years, it's like, you're thinking about it the whole time.
Yeah. Yep.
And the Batman Begins, when he picks up the Joker card, you're like,
oh my god, what the fuck?
They had to wait 3 more years.
That was the coolest shit.
Waiting.
That's why I'm always like, DC doesn't get enough credit. They did the first true stinger for the next sequel before Marvel did.
Right.
With that Joker card.
Right.
And then Marvel gets all the credit for after credit sequences. DC. DC. Everyone.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we can kind of agree. Those top 2 I think they can fall in and out.
Yeah. Special nod to that amazing Photoshop of Frank Grillo.
Yeah. Or from Purge Anarchy.
Can you put that on the?
I'll see if I can. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. There's an alternate universe where he is in this Punisher Warzone.
Yeah.
Is Frank Grillo instead, and then that would be our top choice.
Purge Anarchy was him as Punisher for sure.
You can fucking slap Punisher on that Purge film.
Might as well.
Yeah.
It was the same thing.
It totally is.
Yeah. So getting into the film a little bit, I want to talk about 2 main things. Is the music. I think the music is flawless. I love the theme. It's very. There was something about it. People were like, "That's not a superhero film," and where's the superhero music? It's like, he's not a superhero. Like, he's an anti-killer. He kills. He murders people.
Yeah. He's more Batman. than anything.
Yeah, a vigilante.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only he murders people, because that's just the difference between them.
Yes.
But yeah, he's more, Frank Castle was more Bruce Wayne. What was that?
It's just Wendio.
No.
Throwing stuff around.
I thought your camera shuddered.
No, start taking pictures of us.
Shit. Yeah.
No, yeah, but the actual, like, the Punisher theme that plays, kind of that slow build up, and some of the stuff throughout the film is just it's good. It's a
little bit of a western.
Yeah. There you go. That's perfect. Unforgiven.
Yes.
Very much like that.
I watched Unforgiven the other day too.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that movie.
It reminded me a little bit of a western in places, where there was the awesome scene that I know you want to talk about, the diner scene.
Yes.
Where the guy comes in and plays on the guitar, the assassin, and then we're all the way to the end of the movie where they have a standoff between Thomas Jane and John Travolta. And
then there's the one with him in the building with the two other guys.
Yeah.
Great standoff scenes.
Yes.
That I like that better. This is a western film. Yeah. Very much. Yes. From the mellow, dramatic music to standoffs to even the Punisher. He's like an old West hero, kind of. He was the man with no name.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that. And then so the music like in the diner.
Like a film noir western.
Yeah. See, we're getting somewhere.
That's what the next Punisher film needs to be.
That's what the next Batman film needs to be.
Jonah Hex. What are you talking about?
We should do Jonah Hex.
I didn't like Jonah Hex. Maybe I'd have to rewatch it.
I can't remember the other one. Dylan Dog with Brian Rowe.
I kind of like that movie.
I don't want
to talk about Dylan Dog.
Actually, my favorite scene, if I had to pick one, is the diner scene with Harry Heck. He comes in. The first time I saw this, I was there with my dad, and I was like, Desperado. Yeah. I thought he was going to pull guns out of his guitar case again.
Which also kind of would have been cool.
Yeah, would have been. But he actually pulls out the guitar and starts singing this Johnny Cash rendition style song. And actually, I want to play it just because it's so cool. So I'll start it right now, and we'll just kind of hang out for,
33 seconds.
So for 33 seconds. Yeah. So we'll do it right now.
What you're thinking, all your doubts and fears. And if you look in my eye in time, you'll find the reason I'm here. And in time, all things shall pass away. In time, you may come back someday to live once more.
All right.
You don't realize
how long... I was watching on the screen.
You don't realize how long 30 seconds is.
Until you're sitting there in silence.
In dead silence, because we can't hear anything.
I was watching it.
Green screen, Jeff.
I was watching it.
Oh, okay.
See? They don't know that.
Movie magic. Podcast magic.
Exactly. But that song...
That was a really good moment in the movie.
It definitely makes my hair stand up, gives me little goosebumps.
So when I was younger, I maybe didn't understand that sequence.
Oh, yeah?
As well as I did now. Just like rewatching it. Like, that was the guy that they hired to kill him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like, why is this guy singing to him?
Like, what the fuck? And, he came in and he's sending him a message.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I love the car chase that follows.
I do, but oh man, did they have to ruin both of the old cars?
Yes.
One of them, the Punisher Mobile, I think.
Punisher Mobile,
It's the Punisher Mobile. That was a GTO, and then I think a Barracuda was what the other guy.
I don't know what the other one was.
I'm pretty sure it was a green Barracuda. Like, oh my god! And they barely had a chase sequence with them, and they fucking wrecked them both.
Budget constraints, yeah.
I wish there would have been more to that.
If there would have been a bigger budget, there was so much other stuff that was going to be added.
Yeah.
Even just like they couldn't import the animated thing. It's like,
I
how do you
know.
have to cut the animated thing?
I know.
But there's so much more that
Punisher steals
was
his
planned.
Barracuda.
So yeah, it
You
just
don't-
drives away in
And
it.
you don't really see it again, do you?
I think there's a glimpse of it towards the end when he's goes to the Saint compound,
Yeah.
and you can see him pulling up in it, and they're parking along the
Oh,
cars
sure.
and stuff. I think there's a little, you can see the green and stuff on
Oh, but I did like the part where what kind of a dumbass brings a knife
it.
to a gun?
You are one dumb son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Bring a knife to a gunfight, and then he shoots
Boom,
it.
shoots it out.
Fucking
And
awesome.
that was that the one that he got from the dude earlier in the movie?
I
Or
don't
was
think
it
so. I think it was a different one. Because if you had a
Because it was what
yeah.
do they call those? A butterfly?
Is that what it is?
Butterfly?
I think so.
I think they're
yeah,
called
I think that's
butterfly
right.
knife.
Yeah.
Because a switchblade is
Wasn't
the one
what
that
it
you
is?
hit the button.
Oh,
and
right.
the
So
handle
that's the
comes out
difference.
with a switchblade.
Yeah.
A butterfly is the one that opens up.
Yeah. So that's what he took from him, and he had the
Yeah,
whatever you just said.
butterfly.
Yeah.
Switchblade.
Yeah. I don't know. Not knife
It
guy.
kind of, in my mind, they should have maybe done a better job of incorporating the same knife.
That'd been cool. It was cool that
don't-
he shot him with a
That
knife,
don't
though.
matter, but I like dumb little details like that. Like I
Mhm.
liked if that would have had a direct.
Or like at the end when he's in the compound, and there's that great, awesome shot where he stabs the guy through the throat. You see the knife in his mouth.
Yeah.
What if he used the one that he used to stab him in the hip and the hand, and then as he's holding him, he goes and then stabs him.
Yeah.
Like that would have
That
been
would've been cool
awesome. 'Cause it's
callback
like,
or
oh
whatever.
my god, that's the knife that he took.
I just am a big fan of details. When details line up
Yeah,
in films like that, I'm like, that's cool.
that'd been awesome. Ooh, excuse me. And then, so I want to talk about the music, and then also I want to talk about the hitmen, and a lot of the people in the beginning of the Beach Massacre are stuntmen.
And they all look like people that you've seen before from like RoboCop or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. There's ex-NFL players. There was a guy who, in The Mechanic with Ben Foster. Ben
Mhm.
Foster goes to kill that gigantic monster, and he has to strangle him.
Yeah.
That was one of the hitmen in the beginning of the beach scene.
Oh, cool.
So it's just like you can
Kevin Nash,
Kevin Nash
Diesel, or
as a fucking
Super
as the
Shredder.
Russian.
Super Shredder.
Your
from
Super
Teenage
Shredder.
Mutant Ninja Turtles
Oh
2, Secret
man,
of the Ooze.
Ooze.
There's a good callback for you, but
Yeah.
that was really funny that was Kevin Nash
Yeah.
in the movie. And this was like fucking like jacked steroid
Yes.
Kevin Nash. Yeah.
It was right around that time. Yeah.
Bust through the wall.
Now
I like that sequence a lot.
I like that whole fight. That whole
I
fight
didn't
is
like
awesome.
the opera music.
I loved it.
I thought that maybe would have been okay for like a funny little bit, 30 seconds at the beginning of it. Maybe they could have transitioned out of it.
Yeah.
For the whole extended, especially the extended sequence,
Oh yeah.
it was maybe a little too much opera.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
With that whole fight, Kevin Nash smashing the gun barrel with the weight,
Yeah.
and Thomas Jane's like, "Fucking really?" Everything that Thomas Jane threw at him, Thomas' face was just puzzled.
He's like, I'm
Like,
over this shit.
Are you fucking kidding me? I was trying everything.
I don't know why it
with a
stands
pot of
out.
soup.
But Kevin Nash has him like up against the tool crib.
Oh man.
And there's
That's
a really
such a
funny moment where he like reaches up and he grabs like a drawer
Yeah.
and just hits him over top of the head with it. I don't know, I really like that.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
He throws the grenade out and Kevin's just
Yeah.
smashes back in with the pipe. I think my favorite part of that scene though is not the comedic part. But he stabs him right in the chest, which that part's funny. He stabs him in the shoulder,
Yeah.
stabs Kevin, and he's just like
he just
pulls
looks
it
at
out. But when he throws him up against that locker and goes to stab him, but he's kind of holding him back, and it just goes in so slowly, and it just pierces and just kind of drives in. And that scream that Thomas Jane lets out, it felt like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, like, you think about getting stabbed, like, that would fucking suck, but getting stabbed slowly like that, feeling it,
Through the bicep,
oh,
through your
man.
rotator cuff, and all
right
that
through,
shit.
right in the shoulder.
Yeah. He throws
that would just be the
He throws
worst.
the grenade, and then he like
he just
baseballs
hits it with
back
the
into
lead
the
pipe.
bathroom and he has to jump into the tub. Yeah.
Kind of coming off of that, something that I wrote was there's a lot of the time in films you'll see people like, this is a bad excuse, but for instance in Deadpool he gets a bag of guns, you never see the guns, but that's a stupid reason.
I know what you're talking about.
You always see people preparing for something and then they never use it.
Yeah.
So I mean, Tom, you see him packing guns,
hiding guns underneath tables and stuff.
Right. So he uses everything that he hides. He uses the grenade. He uses the handgun.
Mm-hmm.
He uses all that stuff. And usually you don't see that in film. Usually we would have gotten the scene of him setting it all up, but we actually got to see it like pay off, which is something we don't normally get. I thought that was an interesting idea.
Yeah.
It's like, we're showing you this for a reason.
This is a dumb example, but there's a wood chipper in the Friday the 13th remake from, 2009?
It never gets used.
They show a bunch, and you really think at the end of the movie that Jason is going through the wood chipper, and they like tie a chain around his neck and throw the chain through the wood chipper, and it strangles him, and it stops right before he goes through the wood chipper. And they set it up, and you think, oh, that's someone is either going to get killed through it, or that's how they're going to kill Jason.
Yep.
And they don't do it.
You know who does do it? Tucker and Dale vs. Evil.
Yeah.
People just keep coming on my property and killing themselves. We should talk about that movie. That's a great film. I liked. I think it's a fucked up way to get his attention, but Ben Foster goes over and he goes, "That guy is back in Joan's apartment right now. We need your help." That's a fucked up way to get him over there, but I kind of like that dinner scene. Mm-hmm. It kind of slows down the movie, and it's just kind of like
dinner scene.
Yeah, but at the same time, I kind of enjoyed it because you get to see Punisher interacting with other people, and he hasn't for so long, and everybody goes around and says what they're thankful for, and he just goes, "Thanks for dinner. I'm just happy to eat." And,
so I feel like the internet probably doesn't like the three neighbors, the Rebecca Romaine and the other two guys.
Really?
I feel like the internet probably doesn't like them.
Huh. I thought they were a good part of the film.
For me, I enjoyed all of those moments
of
the film. I thought it needed to have a little bit of balance. Mm-hmm. And that was supposed to be the comedic...
It's the comedic relief,
balance
for sure.
of the film. If anything, I thought that they could have probably went darker in other sequences, because they did have that balance.
Definitely.
You know,
I think they wanted to.
Yeah, I thought there was a couple times where they made it a little more humorous where it didn't need to be. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, you've already got the neighbors that are funny and the interactions between...
Yeah, Punisher doesn't need to be funny.
Yeah, like, he doesn't need to... Like...
I'm fine. He's not.
Yeah. And part of the...
I still laugh. It's fucking funny.
You know, part of the... That's why I said part of, like, the opera music and some of him hamming it up a little bit during that fight with Kevin Nash didn't really need to be there.
Right.
Like, you don't really need to ham that up because you've got funny moments between the three of them, like that Thanksgiving sequence, whatever. Mm-hmm. So you don't need to ham it up in other places.
Right. I agree with you.
Like, there's a part...
But at the same time, I love that scene. I love all of them.
I know, but that's just kind of my...
If it wasn't there, I wouldn't know what I was missing.
Right.
So, yeah, I know what you mean.
Dude's avenging his family.
Exactly.
His family got fucking killed in front of him. All his family, presumably all his friends that were at that. Well, that was a big family reunion. Yeah, so like his whole extended family got fucking killed. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know how much you would be hamming it up in places.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of what, like, Warzone and especially the Netflix series did a better job of. They were still funny in places because it's a comic book movie, and that's okay. But I think they did a better job overall of understanding the tone of the film. This one kind of it struggled.
I think
with the tone, the overall tone.
I see what you're talking about for sure. I think with the the Russian fight, though, for sure, I think those are just human reactions that aren't meant to be funny. When you hit a guy in the face with a lead pipe and he doesn't move, I would probably do the same thing, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I get it.
And to us, it's funny, but when you put yourself in that situation, you'd be like, seriously? That would be a real what the fuck moment. And I think, especially with that's my crutch is the Russian fight. I think is that hamminess and that like I think that's the acceptable part to use it. So I guess like some of the other scenes, it's a little too far. But I think if they were gonna include that humor and that hamminess, I think that was the scene to do it in. Right. When you're going against a monster.
Right.
And you hit him and he doesn't flinch. It's like, fuck. It does, and you get your gun smashed by a fucking weight. Like, you deserve to be like, I'm going to shoot you with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of the last scene that I want to talk about really much is the Ben Foster torture scene.
Oh.
Because I think...
With Will Patton?
Yes.
Where he pulls the...
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like the part with Will Patton. That was some good acting at the end where he's like, they're in the hallway, he's wiping blood off his hands, and he's just... He's trying to convince himself as much as the people around him, where he says something to the effect of that he couldn't have known. If he'd have known, he'd have said something.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, right?
You're like, right?
They must not have known.
Yeah.
And then even the other son was like, I guess.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
I love that scene.
Did you favorite scenes?
I kind of talked about mine. I talked about the diner scene. Okay. What's your favorite scene?
I think I'm going to pick that one.
The torture scene in that hallway
and
after?
Just that acting in the hallway from Will Patton is just good. That's good stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That whole scene with Will Patton is phenomenal. And Ben Foster, that was like his big moment in the film.
Yeah.
And I feel like he crushed it.
Yes.
Between the screams and the torture and like, I'm not gonna tell you nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
I like that moment from him, and then I already mentioned it, but I want to mention it again. Just the whole, no one's ever stood up for me before.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's good acting. That's Oscar acting in a stupid film, right?
That's what Ben Foster does in every film. This film, fucking Pandorum, like, he's always fucking awesome.
I want to tweet him
but
this conversation. Can you, like, clip this out, and can I, like, tweet this to him?
Yeah.
And be like, dude, we see you. We recognize that you're awesome.
Yeah. You're actually a big inspiration for one of the characters in my book I'm writing.
Cool. Cool.
The way it's kind of interesting. The way I'm writing my book is almost like I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
And so I picture actors and like locations and stuff, and then
you had to do it.
So I'm watching a pretty damn good movie right now, Ben. So if you could get back to me, that'd be great. But yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about that scene because that scene between Patton and Foster definitely stood out.
That's good.
Especially in a film like this where you have Travolta and Thomas Jane.
Mm-hmm.
To stand out like that is pretty awesome, especially for like side actors.
Yeah,
that people forget.
Side character was good. You know what's underrated about that sequence? I don't know if a lot of people ever noticed or really talked about. What was the other guy? What's his name?
John Panay. Just sitting there.
In the background. And you only see him maybe
slightly.
Once. Just slightly.
Yeah,
he's
once or twice through the hole, and he's just like got his head down.
Because what's he going to do?
Yeah.
What is he going to do? He's not going to overpower or fight anyone or whatever. And he's just sitting there, and he's got this look of like, I want to help my friend, but I'm helpless. I'm powerless. I can't do anything. So that scene, like we just talked about, kind of some quotes I want to mention real quick. I talked about one, I'm fine, he's not, and then he just kind of falls over. Yeah. Another comedic moment. Shortly after that, another Ben Foster line that I really like. It's kind of in the background too, so a lot of people may not notice it. After the Russian fight, they're all in his apartment. She's stitching him up, and I know what he wants. And he runs away. And you're like, what the fuck? And he goes to get the fucking... I know what you're talking about. The bourbon. And he comes back and he just starts chugging it.
But
and then she slowly
right,
okay,
like okay, I need that.
Okay, alcohol thins your blood and your
exactly. Yeah,
good. That was funny. You know what was a good underrated moment of that part?
Appearances aren't everything.
Well, yeah, that. But I was gonna say that because they had fought and there's holes through everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like it pulls back and you can see everyone going off and doing different things through the holes in the wall and shit. I really liked that.
John Panay walking by like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what is that massive hole? Yeah.
Like, what?
What the hell is going on? Yeah.
That was a good little bit.
Yeah.
I like that.
There's a lot of those throughout this.
Yeah.
Like, we could talk about every scene, there's like something little that just stands out.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, it's just living for those little things. A couple other ones is, I liked the upset speech. Where he talks about, I used to get upset. Frank, you're back. Frank, it's been 5 months and there's still nobody in jail.
Oh, when they're standing outside the police station.
Yep. Yeah. And I know you're upset. Upset? I used to get upset.
Yeah.
I used to get upset when the Yankees won the World Series.
Yeah, that's good.
So if that's how upset is, then tell me how I feel now.
Yeah.
I like that whole speech. We talked about you shouldn't play with knives. I love that. Shouldn't play with knives. So that's like I always say it to myself in like a British accent because that sounds like such a shouldn't play with knives. I know what he wants. You ever try isometrics? It's a hell of a workout. I'm talking about the 8-pound mine. He makes the son hold up with an outstretched arm.
Yep.
And then later when he's outside with Howard Saint, he's like, you killed my son.
Both of them.
That's fucking awesome.
A good moment. Yeah.
And then the last thing is the last line of the film. Those who do harm to others, murderers, rapists, sadists, will come to know me well. You can call me the Punisher.
That's good.
Oh, so... Oh. You ready for us to get our YouTube show canceled?
Sure. Go for it.
So there's a lot of like news websites and stuff on Facebook, and they always post stuff, terrible things that you hear about, things that happen an hour away from where you live.
Right.
It's always parents killing their children. It's just terrible things.
We need a Punisher.
We need a Punisher. Yeah. And I always comment a GIF of Thomas Jane as the Punisher.
Yeah.
It always gets a bunch of likes and a bunch of fuck yous. But yeah, I'm gonna say it. I think we need a Punisher.
Yeah.
And a lot of the replies that I get are, well, what if he killed your family? I'm like, my family's not fucking around.
Yeah.
Like, my family's not murdering people.
Yeah.
So I don't need to worry about that. And if they are, fuck them. Like,
yeah.
I have no empathy for murderers or rapists.
Child molesters.
None.
Yeah, I totally agree. You fuck them.
Fucking Punisher them.
Yes. Right.
This is kind of off topic, but I don't know if it was a real video or if it was staged or what, but there was something about a Russian Punisher, and they had him. It was pretty graphic. They had him. It looked real. I don't know though.
Oh, I know what video you're talking about.
They like tied his arms around a flagpole or something and whipped him to death, and did some other shit to a child molester.
Yeah. It's pretty brutal stuff.
No, don't molest children.
Right?
It's not that hard. Just don't be a fucking terrible, awful piece of shit, and bad things won't happen to you. And one other thing, I think it's interesting that within our prison system, that there's like
there's a code of conduct amongst criminals. You hear about that all the time if you watch like Netflix shows.
There's a criminal conduct of morality in prison.
Yeah.
If you kill a man, that's a fair fight. If you kill children,
but like
if you rape a child, like fuck you. Even guys who kill people think you're a piece of shit.
Rightfully so.
Right.
Yeah.
There was that new one, not Making a Murderer. I think it's just called I'm a Murderer.
I haven't watched that one yet.
I watched a couple. I think I watched 2 episodes, and they kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
And kind of the honor among thieves, essentially, kind of that theme.
Yeah.
And I just think it's kind of an interesting thing that's a thing.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have any final thoughts? Anything else you want to mention about the Punisher now that we just crucified ourselves?
Yeah, I do back to the Punisher. I do. There was a lot. It's funny because I don't want to say we plan. I mean, we have Jeff has a whole thing full of notebook.
Yeah.
Full of,
this is my second notebook.
Full of notes that we write down. But we don't really talk about what we're going to talk about beforehand, so sometimes discussions take interesting turns.
Right, yeah. This is very much just heat of the moment. I take notes.
Yeah.
Just to kind of talk about if we get lost. But
so there's a lot of stuff that we didn't mention about the movie. There's a lot of cool stuff. There's always stuff we leave out. There's always cool stuff. I thought John Travolta was an excellent casting as a villain.
Yeah.
I really liked the 2 actors that played his sons in the movie. They were good. They were enjoyable. I kind of like the way there was an opposite family dynamic that plays in the movie, to where, okay, so the Punisher, Tom Jane, killed John Travolta's son, and so John Travolta goes after his whole family, and so Thomas Jane is coming back, and at the end of the movie, as he's got Travolta laying on the ground, he throws the pictures down, and he's like, I made you kill your best friend, made you kill your wife.
Mm-hmm.
What else does he say? He says something else.
And now I've killed you.
And now I've killed your sons. He just told him earlier.
Right. He's like, you killed my son.
I've killed both your kids.
Both
so
of them.
there's this whole kind of back and forth of a weird fucked up kind of you killed my family. I fucking made you kill your whole family. This whole elaborate thing that I really like. That's an underrated part of the film that people don't really talk about. I thought that the Punisher logo in the car, the fire at the end of the movie is cool, and
a little cheesy. Still cool.
But why is it not cheesy when Batman does it?
Because.
See?
Batman doesn't blow up cars in the shape of a Batmobile or a bat signal.
But he blew up
specific
windows in a building.
He
had to fucking stand there with what?
I think there's
to stand there with what, graph paper and graph it out beforehand.
These are both comic book characters for sure, but I think you get away a little bit more with Batman because it's a little more fantasy fictionalized and it's Batman.
Yeah.
When you see Punisher, he's just a motherfucker with a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a badass CIA agent. Navy SEAL guy, but
I will defend that end scene because I really liked it. Because
no doubt, it's cool.
He gave that whole speech, like you said, about how he's the Punisher and he's going to come after these people, and it's the same thing as Batman. He's giving them a symbol. He's sending a message.
Batman's a chicken shit when he does it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I thought it was cool.
No, it is cool for sure.
I like this
sure.
movie. I like this movie a lot.
I love this movie.
It's really good.
Love this movie. Final thoughts. I would just say, kind of things that we didn't mention. I really now I forgot. While you were talking about yours, I was like, oh yeah, we didn't even mention the. Shoot, do you remember for me?
Maybe, Jeff. Maybe not.
You were talking about the family dynamic, how he made him kill.
Yeah, I just like the fact that he made him kill Will Patton. He made him kill his wife. He picks the wife up, throws her off the train, throws her off a train bridge, which probably snapped a leg, a neck, or whatever, and then she gets ran over by a train.
Yeah,
that was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
There's the really good sequence where John Travolta, where he was like, "Do you know the maker of whatever brand knife it was?"
Oh, Bowie, Jim Bowie.
Yeah. Yeah,
that was an interesting scene.
Kick the furniture away, and you have too much fucking.
That was
furniture.
A good scene.
Yeah.
Travolta did really well,
and just
actually.
The whole stabbing him.
Yeah.
And him being
"You're killing me.
Why?
You're
killing me.
Yeah. Even his wife, Does this make sense to you now? No. But okay, what I was gonna say is the declaration of intent towards the end before he goes on the compound, I thought was really awesome.
Yeah.
That's taken from I think it's War Journal is the series.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. I think it's War Journal, where he lays out just like that his declaration of intent, number 1, 2, 3, 4. So I thought that was cool how they included it in this, and hearing Tom Jane recite it kind of gives me more goosebumps again.
Yeah.
Um,
Just the whole ending sequence. That's what I want from a Punisher movie, of seeing him go in and set traps and rig things,
blow people
blow
up,
people up, and just being brutal. And
stab a dude through the chin. And...
yeah, I really like the way, well, what was it? He goes to pull a bottle of champagne out of a bucket.
Oh,
gosh! And it just, boom,
right.
blows up, and like, that's Punisher.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's what...
That extra's reaction was pretty good, too.
Yeah.
For an extra, just be like, oh, fuck. Yeah. So, you ready for some trivia?
I would. My last final thought. I would encourage everyone, if you watch it, to track down the extended cut, because there's just more to it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a subplot that was cut out.
Oh yeah, I guess we could mention that real fast with the partner, right?
Yeah.
That betrays him.
Gives him up. And then
gives Saint information and stuff, and he ends up making him kill himself.
He slowly figures out that it was his partner who gave him up, and then, there's a sequence where...
That was the darkest, brutal scene, I think, is making him kill himself.
Yeah. And that was... I watched the making of special feature on there, and the director kind of talks about how that was a last-minute thing that they had to cut, and he was like, essentially... he goes, we had to stitch together a coherent film by taking a large chunk of it out. And so I feel sorry in a way for Thomas Jane and the director and the writers, because it's another example of a studio hurting their own film.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was no reshoot. I mean, they didn't have an opportunity to say, okay, so we're taking this out, we're going to come back in and we're going to do another 2 months worth of reshoots so that you can make a coherent film. It's like, no, just cut this.
Yeah.
Just take this out and then stitch together what you can around it and make it work. And so there's this whole plot point that's put back into the movie that should have been there in the first place.
Yeah, because the first time you watch it, you're kind of wondering how they figured out where he was.
Yeah.
It's like, how do they know his family's in Puerto Rico?
Yeah. As a creator, as a content creator, don't you feel bad for all parties involved?
Definitely.
That happens.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
I feel bad when I have to cut out your stupid brands.
Yeah. Damn you.
No, just kidding. Yeah.
That was a thing that happened a lot around this time.
It still happens.
It happens too, but like Daredevil.
Yeah.
Affleck Daredevil.
03.
There's another one that, watch the director's cut. There is a whole fucking subplot put back into that movie where you're like, shit, the movie functions as a movie now.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, that's
I don't get.
You wouldn't tell an artist to like the bottom half is good, cut off the top half. Like, you just don't do that. But they do that. They think that they have this kind of, and it's so much more incoherent with a film because you're trying to follow a narrative.
It's a short narrative to begin with.
And then it's fucked up.
Why do studios buy like the rights to Daredevil and then they're like, cut out all that shit with Matt Murdock?
Yeah. Who is that guy?
Yeah, cut out all that shit with him being what's he do? I wanted to say detective, not detective, but
what? Lawyer?
Lawyer, thank you. Yeah. Cut out all that shit with him being a lawyer. Well, why do you buy the character if you don't want that in the movie? Did you not know what you're buying?
This is stupid, but I just saw a joke about Daredevil and Batman. And someone was like, if I didn't know who these characters were, and you told me that one is a blind gymnast who jumps across rooftops with acrobatic feats.
That'd be Batman.
And the other, and the other is a, guy that dresses as a Daredevil. But let's get into some trivia real quick. The budget for this, we just talked about Soldier last week. Soldier had $60 million. The budget for The Punisher in 2004 is $33 million.
Damn.
Yeah. For a 2.5-hour film.
Boy, Soldier had an inflated budget.
Well, Kurt Russell is $20 million of it.
Can you imagine what Punisher could have done with 60?
Yeah.
We could have got a full-on Fast and the Furious chase sequence.
It was very much what happened to Deadpool. Happened to Punisher.
Yeah.
They didn't have they wanted to do these big, extravagant face-off shootouts, explosions, but they just didn't have forgot the bag of guns at home.
Yeah. Fox should be thankful that Ryan Reynolds gets that character. Not saying that Thomas Jane doesn't get Punisher, but the fact that like Ryan Reynolds gets Deadpool and they basically let him write the film.
So the budget was only $33 million, and in the U.S. it grossed $33.7. So that's kind of the reason for the fall off. But to go with that, in the first 5 days of its release, DVD release, it sold over 2 million DVDs, which surprised the hell out of Marvel. Yeah. They're like, "Oh, people like this."
Maybe that was the reason why we got this extremely cool packaging.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Extended cut later on.
Had to have been.
Yeah.
Thomas Jane trained for 7 months with U.S. Navy SEALs and gained more than 20 pounds of muscle.
Cool.
You could tell that dude was fucking jacked. Thomas Jane turned down the role twice, as well as a role in X-Men.
Who was he going to be in X-Men?
It didn't say, but it just said that
Wolverine?
he didn't see himself as a superhero actor. The original cut was 3 hours long, which we kind of mentioned.
Yeah.
Throughout the film, you see Thomas Jane. It looks like he has like black nail polish when he's driving and stuff. He slammed his thumb in a door.
Oh.
And it wasn't part of the film or anything. He had a big black nail.
Oh.
So that's why that was. And then, of course, we already talked about, but the 2012 short, Dirty Laundry, 8 years later.
Check it out.
Definitely check it out. There will be a link underneath the video here. So that is Punisher 2004. Dunsies.
I'm going to watch Punisher Warzone tonight.
What should we do next week? You want to figure it out later?
Dolph Lundgren Punisher?
Okay.
We could.
If you want to.
We should probably mix it up.
Yeah.
Leave a little
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Space. I don't know. We'll talk about it again after.
All right. Yeah. We'll tweet something or let you guys know. So PantheonNetwork.com, all the videos, audio's up there. Yeah. It's going to be moving strictly to YouTube December 1st.
Tubi TV shortly after.
Tubi TV. Check out Tubi TV. PantheonNetwork.com. You can also find the Indie Gamer magazine. 4th issue just came out this month. December's issue is coming along well. It's about done. So check out Indie Gamer magazine. I'm also writing a book. I'm just going to start pitching it now. Probably be done in about 4 months or so.
Cool.
So looking forward to that. And we'll let you guys know what we're gonna be doing next week. You got anything?
I think that'll do it. We've talked too much.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching from Pantheon Network Studios. This has been Shut Up, I Like This, and we'll see you next week.